So Mr. Beast put out a video a few days ago paying for 1,000 people to undergo a procedure that heals a form of blindness. And the responses from some Christians have been wild. Here's just a few of them. He is literally the Antichrist. He's performing our society's equivalent of miracles through these excessive acts of faux generosity and is garnering everyone's undivided love and admiration in doing so. He will start subverting Christ's teachings next and preaching selfish action. There's something so demonic about this, and I can't even articulate what it is. Mr. Beast is performing miracles for millions to see. He's unironically the Antichrist. The Bible has already warned us about Mr. Beast. And this was followed by another misapplied Bible verse. So now if you look to the comments of people claiming that Mr. Beast is the Antichrist, they're all predicated on Mr. Beast doing apparent miracles and then garnishing praise from them. But there's a few problems with this claim. First off, Mr. Beast never claims to be doing miracles or signs or wonders like the Antichrist likely will. Secondly, he's not even doing miracles. He's just paying doctors to do a standard procedure, so that wouldn't qualify as a miracle anyway. And probably even most importantly is that even if they were miracles, it's the doctors that would be performing these alleged miracles. He's only paying the doctors. So even from a just purely practical standpoint, these claims just don't hold up very well. And by the way, it's worth mentioning that Christians have been historically pretty bad at determining who the Antichrist is. People have sworn that other people were the Antichrist going back to Nero in the 1st century, to Hitler, to Reagan, to Obama, to Bill Gates, to Lady Gaga, to Elon Musk, to the internet, to the Catholic Church, and so on. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that because we are wrong in the past, it means that we're wrong now. Of course, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that we can be quick to assume, and given what we currently know, chances are that Mr. Beast will likely just be another person that received unwarranted accusations of being the Antichrist. Now, as you guys probably already know, this channel is dedicated to reaching culture with the gospel message, and one thing that can stand in the way of Christians being more effective when it comes to culture is our human tendency to assume bad motives in others. Sometimes we can get so wrapped up in assuming that people have bad or evil motives that we miss the practical stuff, like Mr. Beast helping 1,000 people see, which is actually a good thing. Mr. Beast responded to these charges on Twitter by saying, "Twitter, rich people should help others with their money. Me? Okay, I'll use my money to help people, and I promise to give away all of my money before I die. Every single penny." Twitter, Mr. Beast bad. Now, of course, only God knows his true motives, and I don't. But one thing that I do know is that as Christians, we shouldn't be making it harder for people to do good in the world, especially if the results are good. And in most cases, this holds even if people do have bad motives. I mean, for example, let's just say that his motives were selfish. Well, in that case, I think of it in a similar way to Paul when he talks about how people were preaching the gospel with selfish intentions. He said, "It is true that some preach Christ out of envy and rivalry, but others out of goodwill. The later do so out of love, knowing that I am put here for the defense of the gospel. The former preach Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely, supposing that they can stir up trouble for me while I am in chains. But what does it matter? The important thing is that in every way, whether from false motives or true, Christ is preached, and because of this, I rejoice." Now, of course, Mr. Beast isn't preaching the gospel, but in a similar way, I think that the end result is still a great good that Christians can praise God for. But what's so unfortunate about this situation is how these claims will likely affect Mr. Beast personally and can serve as a barrier between him and him accepting the gospel. And the same can be said for the unsaved onlookers who come across these types of comments as well. What we don't want to do is become so quick to assume that we create these unnecessary barriers to the gospel for people. And something similar can be said when it comes to the mark of the beast and how many things we've confidently yet mistakenly thought was the mark. Go ahead and click here to see what I mean, and the next time that someone is certain that Mr. Beast is the Antichrist, you can just ask him, "What do you mean?"